we drank a lot of beer and met a lot of mates and we'd known 20 years before. The Mad Monk, the director, came, and Chris Barry. And it was a highly enjoyable couple of days. And it is now on sale here. David Blake. Blaze. David Blaze, on his table, he's got them for sale. It's called Return to Devil's End. It's just a meeting of us all together. I said, this is ridiculous. I said to Deep Barnfather, who produced it. I said, you'll ask me questions, I won't know the answer to this at all. Hopeless, I can't remember that. And he said, oh, don't worry, it'll all come to life because we've got all these photographs. And so every time he opened up this book of photographs and we looked, I said, oh my God, you remember that? And then we were off ad-libbing, reminiscing about it. So it was fun, very good.
There seemed to be a conscious thought in your era to make the show more adult, that Barry Letts and Terrence Dicks were trying to make it appeal to a different audience than it did during the Hartnell and Troughton era. Is that true?
I don't know whether that's true, because I personally thought that the early Bill Hartnell series, I thought they were very adult. I mean, they had it's family entertainment. Everything that I've been involved with has always been for family.
Right, yeah.
I don't say I do a show for kids. Wurzel Gummidge is all about a scarecrow who comes to life, and there are two little kids who are the only ones who know that he walks and talks and he can do what he likes, and he's in love with another scarecrow and Aunt Sally, and they understand him. And this was a children's book for years, very successful children's reader, actually. 75% of our viewers, of 12.5 million viewers a week, were adult.
Right.
And Doctor Who, of course, is the same. That originally was children's, well, it always has been children's time, but it's appreciated by a predominantly adult public.
Right. It seemed like they were trying to attack more political issues, though, with it. You know.
Oh, I think they did.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's quite true. They did. But remember too that in Bill Hartnell's time, they went back in history and they did astonishing reversals to the historical periods, which were very successful and highly complicated and very well done too.
Yeah.
When you think of the budget, it's just tons.
Yeah.
People often say, you can't compare Doctor Who with Star Trek. You say, no, it is hard when you've got a difference of about $4.5 million.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what I've always liked about Doctor Who. They use their imagination.
Well, that's it. That's it, rather, because certainly in the early black and white ones, they were very clever because they just didn't show anything which looked bad, but by not showing it.
Yeah.
And Verity Lambert, the producer, she sadly has gone through the last 6 months of sheer torture because she produced and put on the air a TV series that you simply could not believe called Eldorado, which was about the expats living in the south of Spain. It was the most hysterical. Did you see it when you came to me?
No. I've seen it. It's terrible.
Well, it's better now. It's suddenly come to life. I never miss it now. Never. I used to watch it every night because it was so awful. I said, you've got to watch it. You've got nobody can believe that anything could be so badly acted. But now it's suddenly come to life, and it's very, very good. And people can't miss it. They're ringing each other up saying, well, what happened? I told you that he was blah, blah, blah. And it's very much better.
Is this after the departure of Powell that's been improving? Or?
That's right.
Ah.
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. Understandable.
Yeah, the lady producer sent on a very long holiday to Mars, I think. And Verity, of course, didn't have enough to do with it. And so other people have come in that have said, now, come on, let's really get a grip on this thing. And they got rid of some of the most appalling people. Yeah, next.
I have one. This is going to make a little noise, just to let people know.
Right.
Do you enjoy coming to conventions and meeting fans? Do you enjoy coming?
Yeah, that's very interesting. Well, is that a... It's not a video.
Film.
It's a film.
It's real film. It's some great film.
That's very modern. Yes, I do. I love it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. Yeah, I spent... about 4 years ago, I was touring around for Enterprises with the big coach, and where we carried Bessie with us, and we had all the monsters were on view in the coach, and we went to a different town and city on Wednesdays and on the weekends, and that way my wife and I really got to know America better than I suppose 85–90% of Americans. Because we never went on the turnpike, we only went on the small side roads, and we really got to know the States. So that I enjoy enormously. Yes.
The fans are nice to you when you go to these places, correct?
Wonderful. Wonderful. There's going to come a time when they're going to throw things at me. They say, oh, God, I've seen him. Get off. But up until that time comes, I shall enjoy it and always return whenever I can. It's a question of fitting them in with other commitments and other work.
Thank you.
Right.
You've worked with a lot of the doctors in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any opinions or stories to tell of any of the doctors?
No.
Like,
Well, for obvious reasons, which is the thing that I always mention, which I will be later on, is that if I said to you now, I thought that Patrick Troughton was the most god-awful actor I've ever known. He was terrible and unfunny and awful and embarrassing. And you say, oh, very interesting, and you write this all down, and you put it on your video machines, and you play it to all your friends. But 2 weeks later, you have Patrick Troughton as your guest of honor, and somebody says, Jon Pertwee, we saw in Boston last week, and he said, blah, 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 blah. I said, did he? Let me tell you about him. And you're off, and then it's war. So, no, you never ask one actor what he thinks of another actor. He'll give you a lie anyway. You never get a truthful answer.
Okay, then sort of a sideways question on that it might be a little easier to answer. What actor out there would you think would play a good doctor that hasn't yet?
Oh, that's easy. Jeffrey Belden, I think, who plays the Crowman with me in Wurzel Gummidge. And did you ever see a magnificent series called CATWEAZLE?
yes.
Any of you?
Yes.
You saw it, yeah. Because you were lucky you're in family.
From England.
CATWEAZLE was... it's a medieval period, and he played an old, real magic man, like a sort of, what's the name of not Mercury, what's his name? What's the name of the magic man before his attack? Merlin, thank you very much. And he played a sort of Merlin character, with a tame frog. And he was marvellous in it, so you know who he is. I'm trying to think of what else he's done. Anybody see a film called A House That Dripped Blood? Mine? Yeah. Well, you know, there was a man who sold me a vampire's cloak in an extraordinary shop. That's Jeffrey Belden. He'd be a very good doctor, very different, but that's what you want. I think all Doctor Who should have the same sort of faces, you know, noses and crags and lines, things, not pretty young faces. And I think that, although he's a marvellous actor, but I think Peter Davison was rather miscast. I think he was too handsome, too good-looking. You need that for so craggy, old-fashioned face like Tom. Tom looks like a sort of mad Harpo Marx. Yeah. Anything more?
Well, they said that the budgetary constraints made it Earthbound and during your series. Was there really that much of a difference between filming Earth location versus planetary location?
I'm sorry, I don't really get your question.
Oh, well, in other words, Barry Letts said that when he went to you, they made it on Earth so that they wouldn't spend...
Yeah. Oh, yes, well, that's about an age-old question, which I will have to cover in a few minutes again. They also asked, why did I want to be on Earth? Because my simile was, quote, for the thousandth time, there's nothing more alarming than coming home and finding a Yeti sitting on your loo in Wigan than in the Himalayas. You don't expect to find a Yeti sitting on the can in wherever, in Boston, but you do expect it in the Himalayas because that's where he lives. So I thought that it was much more alarming to have the threats coming to Earth rather than we going to extremely indifferent-looking planets which look like gravel pits,
Right.
which they were. Yeah.
What do you think that has made Doctor Who so special that fans have been continually watching it for over 30 years?
Love. They just love it. It's a very affectionate program. I mean, you can look at these ghastly mistakes, and people who don't know it look and say, "Oh my God! Look, you can see his feet with the Dalek or something." But people don't care. You know, they're fans of the program and they love it. I mean, you've got some fan things for a science fiction TV series. What the